By the way, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm.
All right. People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here. Too many 40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry. It's going to change. Be nice.
That ain't working.
I want you to be nice.
That ain't working.
And you'll both be nice.
So much as my wife was a giant. But
I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
no, I'm pretty sure that's the way you do it.
The Rees Company.
Crack open a tepid Genesee and watch the pictures as they travel through your neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's the Rees Company. I'm Steve Rees, the bull of American broadcasting, alongside the great Chris Morganti. How are you, Chris?
I'm good.
It's been a while since we've done one of these.
Yeah, we were on a little bit of a hiatus, during which time you got married.
I did. Thank you for joining me for the big day, and my wife. We had a fantastic time. It was great to see a lot of people we don't get to see too often, and everybody seemed to have a good time.
I know I had a great time. Jim, what'd you think? Jim ghosted the wedding.
Jim couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
He had other things to do. More important, I take it. I don't know.
But you had an interesting wedding ceremony, I think.
Did you like the ceremony?
Your officiant was...
Yes. Was the guy who married us was a very good friend of all of ours, Eric Todd.
Yes.
You've heard him here on the show.
Host of This Week in Charles Bronson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So check that out. This Week in Charles Bronson. He does a show. You can find it anywhere podcasts are. And what he does is he's an obsessive of the late actor Charles Bronson. And each episode is dedicated to either an interview with someone who co-starred with Bronson or a dissection of a Charles Bronson classic. Now, what we typically do here is dissect made-for-TV movies.
Right.
Now, last time we didn't do that.
No, instead we dissected an individual.
Yes.
Very well. We were just talking about this before we went on the air. He's sad, but also hateable.
Yes.
It's an interesting combination.
And he wants you to feel bad for him so much, it makes you dislike him.
Yeah. I didn't want to dislike him.
Right.
But I do.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. And how we found this guy is last time we watched a Pittsburgh public access guy, which is the guy we're going to be talking about. We saw him get prank called back in the 1990s. Yeah. So let's see a little of this again. Let's remind the folks how this began.
I really do.
Well, I really like Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, you're entitled to your opinion, John. I know. Everybody's saying Minnesota and Denver. I don't think so. I think they're both going to choke, both of them, because they're coming in with this high hopes that because they had such a great regular season that they're going to win in the playoffs. Doesn't work that way. I don't think they're going to come in with the intensity and the willpower to want to win the game. I think it's going to be Atlanta. Atlanta's a well-coached team, and so are the Jets. And both teams have come to play over the last few weeks, and I think they're going to do it again.
Yeah, but you're a fat fuck.
All right, thanks, John.
There's the argument the caller's making.
Yeah. Counter argument.
Yes. All well and good. But in my defense. So, the host of that show, his name is Ralph Williams, as mentioned earlier. Now, we followed up with him to see where he is today, and we found a wealth of content from this cat.
25 years later, he's still going strong.
He can't stop.
Yeah.
He has a YouTube channel on which he has 4 shows now, Chris.
Yeah.
Last time it was 3. Now he has 4. He has a sports show, much like the one we just saw the clip from. He has a wrestling show. He just added one-on-one with Ralph Williams, which is kind of like a Charlie Rose sort of thing, I guess.
Oh, dear God.
But our favorite is his weekly show, The Way I See It, with Ralph Williams, where Ralph rants about absolutely everything from appetizers to desserts. Now he calls himself, he's given himself a name. Tell the folks what that is, Chris.
Oh, Pittsburgh's forgotten son.
Yeah, and that is because no one in Pittsburgh civic circles will appear on his program.
Right.
And his reasoning is that, it's because he'll ask all the tough questions.
Well, that's not why, though.
No, it's the single-digit viewership.
Yeah, and he's completely uninteresting. Why would anyone go on his show?
So I think he gave himself the wrong name. Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son. It's not apt. Check out this screenshot from a recent episode of Talkin' Wrestling with Ralph Williams and his co-host, Smokin' Jim Frazier. Yeah, take a look at that. Now, that reminded me of a bit that Leno used to do on The Tonight Show.
Okay.
Called Iron J, where he'd use an unflattering angle and a certain lens and a zoom in to make himself look like a meathead.
Yeah, I guess I remember that. Yeah.
That is closer to Ralph Williams than anything I've ever seen.
Now, we saw him in the 90s there, and I think it was more the late 90s.
Yeah.
Like we figured that out from the football games they were talking about. But so 25 years ago, he was well-dressed. He was in what appeared like a professional studio. Look at the devolution of him. He looks like a goddamn mess, and no attempt at any kind of backdrop. We pointed out last week, I guess you can't see it here, but
it's cropped, yeah.
The closet door was open. You could see stuff in he didn't even attempt. He's putting minimal effort into creating an aesthetic for the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to say this. As I said, I think he gave himself the wrong nickname. He looks more like Iron J than Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son. So I think Ralph Williams, the name he should have gone with, was Iron City J.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I have a suggestion. He should go by Ignoramus because that's what he is. We'll see some evidence of that in a little bit.
So on our previous episode, we heard Ralph in a segment that he calls Life Stories. He told a tale about having a birthday dinner at a place called the Wheelhouse at Rivers Casino out there in the Three Rivers City. He had to wait for a table.
Right.
Now, it's Wheelhouse policy that they'll text you when your table's ready. So Ralph rode in on his mobility scooter. That's another element you have to picture every time he tells a story. He wheeled in and started flashing his phone and saying, "Look, you sent me a text. My table's ready." And what turned out to be the case, Chris?
Well, it's our interpretation of your interpretation of what you think happened is that he was using a text from the year prior to try and fool them into seating him more quickly.
Sooner, yeah.
But mind you, he's already seated the entire time in his scooter. It's not like he's standing up and, hey, I'm tired.
Yeah, no.
I've got a bad knee. He's already sitting.
He brings his own. He brings his own furniture. So that's what he did, and they pointed that out to him, and he reacted angrily. Oh, they called me a liar. Well, you were lying to me.
Because I agree with your take on it. I believe that is what happened.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
So I have an erratum from our last broadcast, Chris.
Oh, okay.
As we were talking
when
about,
you called me the great Chris Morganti, or as you put me on our Facebook description, simply the. When's that going to be fixed, Steve?
I don't know how I did that. I meant to get to that.
As of today, it's still not fixed.
Okay.
So
by the time people hear you say that, it will be fixed. So we were talking about Iron City J, if you will, and I said he wasn't married. And that's because the woman he claims is his wife is only in a relationship with him, according to her Facebook status. But I stand corrected. Ralph did marry this spring. You want to hear a little about the big day?
You know, what I'm guessing, Steve, is that she's so tired of all his podcast shenanigans that she stays as far away from social media as humanly possible. And she hasn't updated her Facebook status in a long time.
Let's hear about the big Williams union.
Continue for everyone to toe the company line. Just keep it up.
I'm sorry.
That's
Pause,
the way
please.
I see it tonight.
I'm already lost. Toe the company. Who's he talking about? Toeing the company line.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think we're there yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I may have started this clip prematurely.
Gotcha.
All right. Next on my life story, my wedding. My wedding was great. I had really good catering, good flowers, and some of my great and good friends and family were. Well, I didn't. My family, my dad, unfortunately for him, he doesn't have any legs, so he can't drive. I didn't have the money to bring him up here and put him up in a hotel. I can't put him up here. My place is not big enough to put a third person in here to sleep.
All right, pause. No accommodations for Dad.
Yeah.
All right, let's hear a little more.
Okay. So I would have to put him up in a hotel. I didn't have the finances at the time. I would have had to drive 4.5 hours down to Baltimore to go pick him up and bring him up here. All right. But he sent me a card and he sent me a gift, and that's good. Okay. My sister, on the other hand, there's issues with her that I refuse to even talk about on this program. My nephews and my nieces did not show as usual because their mothers got them brainwashed not to talk to their uncle. All right.
Yeah, so
Jesus.
The Williams clan is there's some interesting stuff going on in regards to the relationship with Ralph.
Yeah. I remembered you showed me this clip a couple weeks ago, and because we've been on hiatus, I forgot. I intended to make a graphic of his wedding license application. Do you remember me bringing that up?
Yes, you want to clean it up a bit?
I don't know. Maybe we can stick that in right here.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it when I get home, I guess. I don't know.
All right. You could just describe it.
No, I think it's a visual thing.
Okay. So, in another life story, Iron City J, I'm sticking with this, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I'm like Nancy Grace trying to brand the subject. Like Top Mom. Remember when she tried to call Casey Anthony Top Mom?
she was, she was the original Ralph Williams. She was so hateable.
Casey Anthony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's more hateable, Chris?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. This is a good.
You have to think about it, don't
That's
you?
a damn good question. We should put that on Facebook or something.
So,
anyway, what were we talking? Oh, Iron City. Wait, what was it again?
Iron City J, like Iron J, the Jay Leno character.
I gotcha. Yeah. Well, look, we try it. Just like when we review movies, we don't just tear them down. We try to offer constructive criticism. So if he ever sees this, and I have a feeling eventually he will.
Yes, there's no doubt this is making its way
Yeah.
to Ralph's inbox. So he tells another life story out of his life. That's part of his show. That's one of the segments. He has the blast where he complains about people. He has the bonehead where he complains about people. And he has the life story where he typically complains about something food related.
Right.
And so he talks about going to a regional amusement park called Kennywood.
Okay.
Now, Ralph occasionally calls for a boycott of Kennywood because they don't have reduced prices for the handicapped. We're going to hear him talk a little about this.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, but hold on. The reason he went to Kennywood this time, he went for an event that he never misses.
Oh, okay.
An event he calls Progie Fest, by which he means Pierogi Fest. So let's hear about the event from the man himself, shall we?
And music. It was a fun event. And as I mentioned, Kennywood had a select group of rides open for the day. The problem I had with this was it started opening, it was to open at 4:30. But here's the problem I have with this. I questioned security about this. I said, why are you opening at 4:30 when you have 6,000 people waiting outside here? Why don't you open early so you can get everybody to start into the park? Oh, we're opening at 4:30. He got ignorant with me. And he got ignorant with and another guard got ignorant with my wife. Now, I understand you have issues there with kids. You have problems. I understand that.
Can we pause for a second here? The worst thing anybody does. See, here's something Ralph does that intrigues me.
Yeah.
This is his own telling of the story. in his own telling of it, the worst thing anybody did was tell him the hours the park's going to open. That's it. But they got ignorant with him. They got ignorant with his wife.
I think he's the one who's ignorant because you're speaking to a $10 an hour employee about why the executive decision was made to open at a certain time. It's not his. He's a security guard.
Right. And no one told Ralph and all these other people to get there early.
Right.
And Ralph is not concerned about crowd control. Ralph is concerned about stuffing himself with pierogies.
Right. As we already said, he's sitting down where everyone else is standing.
Right.
So he's just waiting to get stuff those pierogies in his face. Or
Yeah.
pierogies. I'm sorry. Pierogies.
Pierogies. Let's hear a little more.
Maybe you didn't want to be there that day. You wanted to spend time with your kids and your family, and you had to be there for Progie Fest. I understand that. But don't take it out on me and my wife and my family. Don't do that.
Who's taking anything out?
The guy simply told you what time
Right.
the place opens. Now, let's stay with this. I do want this gets even more interesting when Ralph continues.
Kennywood, you're already on my list. On my list. You know what list that is. Yeah. Because I don't go to Kennywood.
Wait. Pause it, please. Is it the list of Is it the list of places where they had to close the bathroom after you used it?
Oh, okay. All right. A little more.
The only reason I went this time is because my wife and my mom wanted to go. I'll go once a year and I'll pay the $35 to go and eat pierogies. I love pierogies. I had a good time. I ate some great food. I played some games, won some prizes. If you saw on my Facebook page, okay? But here we are again, Kennywood. Come on, man. I'm a disabled person in a wheelchair, and you treated me like I was a piece of garbage.
Told him what time the park opens.
Okay? Yeah. Then I needed to go rent a scooter, okay, to go into Kennywood. So I rented a scooter. But they didn't open until after 4:30. The place, they didn't even open the park until 4:45.
Pause. Yeah, that's a whole lot of pierogi eating time down the drain. Poor Ralph. Okay, let's hear some more.
Come on, Kennywood. Wake up. Okay? Wake up. This is not the way to do business. Not at all. It's bad enough that you discriminate against the handicapped people by not having some kind of a lower rate for us to get in.
Okay, please.
And then when I saw the senior citizen
I think that's
rate,
all we need.
That it's not discrimination that they charge you, that they treat you exactly the same as everyone else by
Right.
charging you the same amount.
Yes.
How is that discrimination by treating you exactly like everyone else?
Everywhere he goes, he needs to be seen as a victim, though, Chris.
And frankly, I mean, this is nothing against disabled people, but it costs more to accommodate them. You need ramps, you need bigger bathrooms. Like, if anything, they should be charging them more, not less. But I don't want to. There's nothing against disabled people, just him specifically.
And also, at least consider that, okay, if you can't get on rides, perhaps an amusement park isn't the place you ought to be. It's not a Dave and Buster's. He talks about he wants to play games. Well, go to a place like that. Why do you have to force an amusement park to change their pricing to accommodate your fat ass?
Yeah,
All right, so earlier that month, Ralph went to another festival.
Okay.
This time it was Rib Fest. This was at another location. Now, Chris, how do you think it went? Do you think Ralph was best pleased or not best pleased?
He doesn't seem to bring things up that he's pleased about.
No,
So,
not typically.
I would guess he's not. I don't know if I saw this clip. I may have skipped this one.
Let me ask you this. Do you think he might have been wronged in some food-related way?
I believe that he believes he was wronged, but not that he actually was.
Well, let's find out.
All right. Some of the Progie vendors were
Oh, I'm
really
sorry.
high.
This is the next clip, Jim. I
Wait. I'm sorry, but can we see that anyway?
Okay,
'Cause
let's hear
I'm
about
interested in the Progie vendors.
Can't get enough Ralph Williams.
Okay, there was one that wanted $11 for 3 Progies. Okay, but there was a food truck there that I really didn't get a chance to take a look at because the line was constantly long all the way till the end of the night. And they were offering 12 Progies for $12. That's $1 a Progie. And I heard they were pretty big, too.
Check the math on
So
that.
maybe that's why the line was long. And then there was these, you had this Oriental stand that was open. You had a guy they had this barbecue stand that was open. Kennywood had some of their rides. They had, the steel curtain roller coaster. They had Thunderbolt open.
All right, never mind.
They even
This
had
is going nowhere. I should have known that it wouldn't go anywhere, but I don't know.
Well, are we ready for the next one, Jim?
at the Rib Fest, it was, they took cash, and then you had a whole bunch of folks at one booth and someone at another booth. The food was good at the one I went to. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, and I'm really not worried about it. The ribs were good, but it was a little pricey. And then I paid $5 for macaroni and cheese, and I get myself a little baby portion. So, I said something about that, and they didn't rectify the problem. But there were certain people that they were giving.
What? They didn't rectify the problem of giving you more than you.
Did he order the wrong size? Is that a possibility?
I'm wondering what he considers a baby portion.
Yeah,
a quart? I don't know.
All right, let's hear some more.
Big portions too. So I don't understand why you would give me a baby portion.
Pause. Yeah, what we stepped on was other people got big portions. He got a baby portion.
Sir, come on.
All right, let's continue.
When you give a big portion to somebody else, you know who you are. Okay.
Pause. No, these people are not watching.
No, maybe they do watch, and that's why they gave him a baby portion. Maybe he is just being constantly disrespected. Just because everyone knows who he is in Pittsburgh, and no one can stand him.
All right, we have a. I think that's a.
So the Rib Fest was okay. It was good. It was nice. My mom likes to come out.
Yeah, he never really complains about the food itself.
Right.
Just the amount or the time it took for him to receive it.
Yeah, or just the fact that they don't cater to his every whim.
Yeah. Now, I don't think we should have to point this out, but I do want to say again, we have absolutely nothing against the overweight or the handicapped.
Right.
That should go without saying. But when you have a sad sack fat guy in a jazzy complaining about all the things you've just heard him complain about, like he's Peter Finch railing against the corporate media and network, that's funny. And it's also a little enraging when you factor in the apparent lack of self-awareness.
Yeah.
So let's go back a bit to Iron City J's Independence Day special. It streamed live on July 5th this year. Do you know why it was delayed a day, Chris?
No.
He didn't want to interfere with anybody's barbecue plans.
How considerate.
Because to him, this is mandatory viewing.
But we watched it in October.
Yes.
People can watch it whenever they want.
Yes, it's an on-demand medium. Right. Now, he does these shows live, but it's not as though the entire city of Pittsburgh, or the entire world even, in his mind, I guess, is just sitting by their computers refreshing for an update. So he poses a question to his audience of millions, which leads to a digression about vegans. Now, let's hear what he has to say about that.
Do you, and I mean, do you cook out? Do you, when you make burgers and hot dogs? Oh, okay. I don't make that stuff because I'm a vegan. Okay, I don't have a problem with you being a vegan, but I have a problem when you're going to sit there and criticize what I cook at a cookout.
Pause.
Okay, that's where I have.
Nobody's doing that.
No one's ever criticized you.
No.
Did Do you think? I don't wonder if he even has people who would come over. I don't know.
All right, here's some more.
Problem. So if you're a vegan, you might not eat steak or nothing. You just might have some chicken, maybe some turkey or turkey burgers, something that's filling for a person who's a vegan. And I don't have nothing against vegans.
Holy hell! Come on.
You know what I think it is, Chris? I think it's been explained to him many times what a vegan is, because he came upon the term somewhere.
Right.
And I believe it's been explained to him, but his brain can't get his head around it.
Yeah.
It's just completely inconceivable to him
Right.
that someone would choose not to eat animal products.
Surely you would at least eat chicken or turkey. I mean, I get it. You don't want a steak, but
It's just that they don't like steak. Bacon till the day is done, but steak, forget it.
I mean, seriously, I used the word before, but he's an ignoramus.
But he's so adamant.
You know, his whole thing comes from, he's not trying to be lighthearted and comical like we attempt to do this show. His whole thing comes from a place of authority. And yet he's so unknowledgeable about things that you can't be an authority on anything when you're this dumb.
He doesn't have any kind of credibility.
Right.
But he's forgotten. He's not forgotten. You're just not, you don't have a seat at the table.
Yeah. I feel like he was, even though he was getting prank called, he at least seemed to know something about football. Maybe he played in high school. I don't know.
Right.
He should have stuck to sports, I think. He does a wrestling thing too, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
sort of a sport. You know, like he probably should have stuck to that instead of these general musings of who's disrespected him in the food service industry.
Well, wait to hear about this. This is an unprecedented level of disrespect.
Oh, no.
He received back in June. He attended a gathering. What do you hear this? Unbelievable.
I was at a graduation party on Saturday at the Upper St. Clair Country Club. The lady that was hosting the party was ignorant. You know how, you go to a graduation or birthday party and the mom and dad, the child, they walk around, they shake hands with you. They say, thanks for coming or thanks for being here or whatever. Okay. Well, the woman comes up to me and goes, you want something to drink? Yeah. My wife was with me. My adoptive son was with me. Okay. Yeah, I'll take it. No, I don't need anything to drink. I bring my own drink. Because half the time, when you go to these things, they don't have the drink that you like. So I bring my own drink. If you don't like it, too bad. Okay? You want something to drink? What's going on here? Ignorance everywhere, and it's getting out of control.
Ignorance everywhere, Chris. People are offering other people beverages.
Yeah.
That's got to be stopped.
Yeah. To their guests.
Yes.
Yeah.
Surely. This is the decline of society.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I think we're doomed. Now, do you think his practice of bringing his own drinks, what do you think that's rooted in?
I have no idea.
He says it's a matter of preference. There are
get
things.
that. I've done that. I've brought, a cooler with me because it can be polite, if you plan on drinking a lot of alcoholic beverages, maybe you don't want to drink all their stuff, or like he said, maybe you want something that you think they won't have. I don't have any problem with that.
I think it has to do with the container.
Oh, like you think he's bringing a big gulp?
Yeah, I'm thinking a Popeye's bucket full of potato smoothie.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be on the spread.
No,
but it's what he requires.
By the way, Ralph, you sure burned that bridge. Whoever invited you to that, not only did you complain about their offer of hospitality, you mocked them.
Oh, man. You really think they saw this? You really think they saw this?
I mean, it could get back to him. Like, Jesus. I don't know.
All right. Well, it's time for a word from a sponsor, Chris.
Oh, wow.
Not our sponsor. Ralph's sponsor. Let's check out his live read for DJ Fun.
All right. Tonight's Blast segment is brought to you in part by DJ Fun. DJ Fun is a DJ who does parties, weddings, and special events. Give him a call today at 412-545-4317. Fun, experience, value. Call DJ Fun today. For 10 years plus experience in doing DJ work, has all the music you could want. And I got to tell you, he is affordable. He will not take you to the cleaners like these other DJs. They've been out there for 6 months and they're charging people a bundle of money to, for their services. DJ Fun will not do that. His prices are reasonable and affordable. It will fit your budget. Give him a call today. That number again, 412-545-43.
All right. Yeah. DJ Fun, Chris. DJ Fun
Okay.
is Ralph.
Really?
Ralph is DJ Fun.
Well, then why not just say that?
Exactly. I don't understand. It only took a simple Google search to find this out. Let's say
he's not exactly Bruce Wayne. Is that what you're saying?
I don't have a problem with him putting his business over on his live stream. Why not?
Right.
But say, hey, if you enjoy the show and you want to support me, I have this gig. I'm DJ Fun. It's a great time. You have an event planned. You want someone to come and do the music? I'm your guy. Hit me up. You'll get a great rate.
Right. But anyone watching the show would never hire him. Especially after the last segment, where you want a drink? You want that guy at your freaking wedding?
And also it makes no sense because let's say you do hire him. And on the day, DJ Fun shows up and it's Ralph, the cover's blown.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of it?
Yeah.
That's something I haven't been able to figure out. It's bizarre that he wants to create that illusion that DJ Fun is someone else. So do we have time for a life story, Chris?
From you or Ralph?
From me.
Okay.
Yeah.
We definitely have time.
All right. By the way, Life Stories this week brought to you by Kelly Clarkson Pants Touchers. Are you Kelly Clarkson and you want someone to touch your pants? Contact Kelly Clarkson Pants Touchers today. And the great and handsome folks there, they'll work with you on logistics, frequency, pinch options, and you'll get a great rate. Drop Kelly Clarkson Pants Touchers a line at what is in no way my own email address. Life Stories. Now, my aunt's from Pittsburgh. You probably met her at the wedding.
I did, yes.
And she and my uncle, they used to live in Hawaii. In fact, they met there, though they're both from PA, and returned to Pittsburgh in the early 90s. And, so for my wedding, my aunt suggested we have a cookie table.
Okay.
Because apparently this is a Pittsburgh tradition. There's a table full of cookies, and at the end, everyone takes home a dozen or so.
Sure.
And at least that's the idea. So she set that up for us, and here's what I want to ask you, Chris. Do you think this tradition of take-home wedding cookies is in any way what influenced Ralph's decision to become a Pittsburgh event DJ?
I didn't want to bring this up, Steve, but I was a little bit disappointed at the wedding because I ordered a vegan meal, and I got served barbecue chicken. So, also, when I walked in, somebody said, "Do you want a drink?"
Has that ever offended you? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Pittsburgh. It's similar if you're familiar with Sioux Falls. Pittsburgh and Sioux Falls are similar in that public comment is invited at any city council meeting.
Oh, great.
And also, like in Sioux Falls, the citizens treat it as a goofball open mic night.
Yeah.
So here's Ralph Williams. I believe he Skyped in or called in somehow.
Yeah, but you know what, Jim, I'm going to have to ask you to back it up like maybe 10 seconds where he comes in. Because you just said goofball open mic, and man, look at this guy.
Yeah, look at this guy, Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Yeah, let's take a look at this. And just play it through.
I can't. It looks like he's wearing a sports bra under that shirt. I don't know what's going on.
Our next registered speaker is Ralph L. Williams. Ralph L. Williams.
Now, can we pause it?
Do we have anyone online?
Ralph is not there physically.
Not present.
Yeah.
This might be a COVID thing. Or as he pronounces it, COVID.
Yeah. But he's like Zooming or Skyping in or something like that.
Fine. Oh, Ralph. Thank you.
Now we pause it again, because just go back like 2 seconds, Jim, because we said that you said earlier we don't want to We have nothing against overweight people or anything like that.
Right.
But this council meeting did make me a little bit concerned about what's going on in Pittsburgh because,
oh boy.
I mean, look at this lady here. She's running the meeting. Look at the sign language translator there. And then let's let it roll a couple of seconds forward.
Thank you.
The reason I'm here to speak today is because I know that the city has a deer problem. I want to make a few suggestions for you. First of all, you need to call the State Game Commission. What you do is you ask them if you guys can get involved in a controlled hunt. What that does, Mount Lebanon has done this, Fox Chapel has done this, and many other communities have done this controlled hunt. You'll close up one of the parks for a weekend and have hunters come in and either use bow and arrow or rifle, whichever you choose. But you need to consult with the state game people before you do this. Now, what my suggestion is that each hunter be allowed to kill 2 deers, but they must donate.
Pause it. 2 deers.
Yeah.
Now, the plural of deer is, I believe, deer.
Yes, it's exact.
Yeah. So this professional broadcaster just said deers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't get to the point that we'll see it. We'll see it a little bit later. The point I was making about my concern for the city of Pittsburgh. So
okay.
Yeah.
And can we raise the audio a bit on the clip as we listen?
Yeah. Ralph sounds like he's calling from the bathroom, which maybe,
well, he probably is,
yeah,
more than likely.
Yeah.
All right.
The city, which can be, the meat can be smoked at a taxidermy place or a butcher and be donated to the local food banks.
Hold on. Pause it again. Steve, I don't know if you know this, but taxidermies don't smoke meat. They make wall decorations. Yeah.
Something for the den.
How is someone so fat so unknowledgeable about food?
All right.
Shelters and or the jail. And that will save everybody money on everything as far as food goes for the food banks and also a donation. You can take the deer horns from the buck that are harvested.
Please pause it. Steve, he just said deer horns. Yeah, and Ralph, most people call them antlers because that's what they're called. But sure, deer horns. By the way, this thing that he's proposing, that he called into the council to propose, this is being done everywhere. They're probably doing it this weekend near me. They hire hunters to come in and thin the deer herd population, and they donate the meat.
But you live in a place where that makes sense. He's talking about doing this in Pittsburgh.
Downtown. Look, you got a Steelers ticket. You're in the stadium. Why not take a shot at a deer?
All right.
What you can do is you can auction them off and you can give the money to charity. All right, these are some suggestions that can help you with your deer
Auction
issue.
off the deer horns.
All right, number 2, Councilman Burgess, I want to ask you a question. That is as to whether or not you've got the funding to fix the road that goes up into the old Leamington home. I'm part of the advisory council for East Liberty Family Health Care Center, and I want to know if the road's being fixed so that the bus, Port Authority bus, can get up into that hill up there. You were at the ribbon cutting as I was, and I talked to Mayor Gainey, and he said something was supposed to be done. I haven't been there for a while. I want to ask you, has anything been accomplished to get that road fixed so that the bus can go up there to help senior citizens and the patients of East Liberty Family Health Care Center? Thirdly, I want to talk to you, Mr. Burgess, as well. You're on the board of the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh. There are issues going on in my building that the board, that the management refuses to do anything about.
Yeah, can we pause? Yeah, he lives in public housing.
Okay.
And a lot of times on his show, he has complaints about, the behavior of his neighbors.
Oh, that's what I thought it would be like accessibility issues, like with his scooter and whatnot. But no, this is, he's not getting along with his neighbors.
That and he doesn't like the things they engage in. People knock on his door and ask him for money.
Well, you know what you do there? You say no, Ralph.
Let's hear some more.
cast opinion in person at that same ribbon cutting that you were at. He refused to talk to me, refused to even listen to anything I had to say. We have issues in my building where I live. I live in Calgary Plaza. I've spoken with Mr. Bruce Krause.
All right, can we pause it? Now, here on the very right edge of the screen, there's another person who, let's be honest, Steve, too fat to walk. You see that?
Yeah, that's typically why people have hover rounds.
Yeah, she's got the Ralph Williams scooter there. So what's going on in Pittsburgh? Why are there so many overweight
there's
people?
There's Progie Fest. There's Rib Fest. Every week there's another event.
Yeah.
Where you can eat way too much food. It all sounds great to me. I'd love to go to all these things.
It does. Although I always think of pierogies as being kind of like peasant food, you know?
You don't care for them?
It just doesn't seem like a potato wrapped in dough. Like that's, I don't know. It seems very basic. And what's next? Barley in a bowl? I don't know.
Right.
In regards to the situations in the building, this needs to be taken care of, Mr. Burgess, and I know you're on the board. And I know that the mayor's wife is on the board as well. You guys need to know what's going on in Calgary Plaza. There's a lot of stuff in there, people causing problems. My wife has been physically assaulted twice. I've had to call the police numerous times for numerous things. Nobody gets evicted. And it's very sad that this has to go on. I cannot move because my mom lives with me in the same building and I have to watch over my mom. So I'm asking you to please do something about this now. Because if not, it's going to get worse and worse. I'd like something to be done by the end of the year. Thank you for letting me speak today. Have a great one. Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you. And the next speaker is...
Madam President, I usually don't say much in public comment, but he said something that's not true, so I need to at least...
No.
Yeah, that text from the wheelhouse was a year old.
And what they went on to say was that... he said the mayor's wife was on some council that he was trying to get to do something for him.
Yeah.
And it was somebody who had the same last name as the mayor, but was not his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as usual, he's ignorant and wrong.
So, you want to take a look. There's a show we haven't looked at yet.
Okay.
And it's his wrestling show.
Oh, boy.
Talking Wrestling with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier. Now, Jim Frazier,
By the way, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you think the cops are? Do you think they're happy about having to go to Ralph Williams' building and field his calls about his various complaints?
They're probably tired of it.
I think they would be. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, what do you expect us to bring you macaroni?
If they did, he'd be like, "This isn't the right size. You got me a baby portion." As he ladles it into his mouth.
Oh man. So he does a show with Smokin' Jim Frazier. Now, Smokin' Jim Frazier is actually an NFL scout.
Okay. Veteran?
I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Usually that's how you become a scout.
Yeah, you would think.
You're a former player, but yeah.
I'm not well schooled. I'll look into more Smokin' Jim Frazier material. Maybe he'll be somebody worth paying attention to.
Man, I really wish we could track down the very first clip we showed where Ralph had a co-host who he called by the wrong name. So we're not sure exactly who he is.
We don't even know if Jim Frazier's this guy's name, so
Right.
it might be hard to figure out. So, yeah, they do a wrestling show. So I figure we should just start from the beginning with this one. And this is a recent episode of Talkin' Wrestling with Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier.
Yeah.
And good evening, and welcome to another edition of
Now, can we pause
Talking Wrestling. I'm Ralph Williams.
Now, normally you would think I would criticize the show for bad lighting, but in Ralph's case, solid move.
Williams and my co-host Smokin' Jim Frazier is by phone. Smokin' Jim, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Ralph. Always great to be on with the most knowledgeable guy in wrestling on the planet.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Tonight we have a lot to talk about, and we have a new segment that Smokin' Jim and I are going to do, and it's called Where Are They Now?
Okay,
Tonight,
pause. Wow, that sounds great. Where are they now? Wrestling show, where are they now? I'll bet it's going to be somebody like Outback Jack, Brutus Beefcake, the Shockmaster. I'd like to know what he's up to these days.
Yeah. By the way, I'm a little bit confused. You said that this Smokin' Jim guy was a scout.
Yeah.
A wrestling scout?
Oh, no, a football scout.
That's what I assumed.
Maybe I was unclear. Yeah.
Well, that's what I assumed with football, because wrestling scout is it a thing?
I don't believe it is.
I don't know.
So let's hear whose mysterious whereabouts we're going to learn from these guys tonight.
Great.
We're going to focus on Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. What's he doing? Where's he at? How's he doing? We're going to have I'm going to have a breakdown as to what's going on with The Rock.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. There's his big. We're going to find out what The Rock has been up to.
Steve, I can tell you honestly, just today, I've seen 3 commercials for the new Rock TV show that's on. I don't know if it's on NBC or just Peacock, but yeah, everyone knows what he's up to. He's one of the most famous people in the country.
And that was a tease. You have to stick around to find out what The Rock is up to these days. Unbelievable. So that's all I have as far as Ralph Williams content this week. Maybe we'll do some more next time. But, Chris, what do you think? How many Meredith Baxters do you give this weasel? You don't actually have to rate him.
I couldn't even. I can't wrap my head around that.
Anything we didn't talk about you might want to talk about?
Well, I had a new feature that I hope to debut tonight. Much like we do our funny or hate crime,
right?
I came up with something new called "Was She Asking for It?"
Okay.
So I think we're going to do that as its own segment, maybe next week, and then look for that.
A standalone program.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, I think we did it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Chris Morgani, Jim Corhan. I'm Steve Rees. Go
Phillies.
All right, we did it.